Hello to all the listeners. My name is Auren Israel. I'm the chairman of Auren Israel, the leading international consulting firm in Israel. Auren Israel is part of an international network of offices operating in more than 70 countries and over 300 branches worldwide. As part of our podcast channel, we are excited to share with you the special podcast season which focus on the world of life science and their business application. We will host here key people who will share with us their point of view about research, academic, application, and business in the field of science. We are happy to continue our conversation with Dr. Choppe regarding the convergence between life science and high tech and how it's becoming Israel's next growth engine. Amir, would you like to start with the first question of this second chapter?
Yes, thank you, Ophir. And in this chapter, as you have mentioned, we will discuss about the health tech convergence. And as we may understand that multidisciplinary teams are creating innovative companies stemming from the overlap of biology, physics, computer science, mathematics, engineering, material science, and nanotechnology that make up the new field of health tech convergence or bioconvergence. So, Dr. Choppe, based on this, I would like to ask if you can give an example about what means the health tech convergence in medical device area.
Yes. I start with medical device because it's historically where this health tech convergence started. I mentioned the technology transfer coming from the army, but as well the technology transfer coming from all the software and engineering high-tech ecosystem in the country, which exists for many, many years and is producing large leader in this field, computing, data, AI today, and material science. In medtech, it's producing, I would say, four subsectors, four categories. First of all, what we call the wearables and sensors. There are many, many companies working on sport wearables that could be called wellness, but as well measurement of many medical parameters that are very important for people aging. Implanted sensors is the new way of measuring sometimes all the cardiac parameters. Very soon it will be in diabetes or in other type of disease. And you have smart textiles, which are measuring other parameters beyond a wearable like a watch or like a bracelet that can give remotely to the patient and to the doctor indication of the health status. So that's the first one. The second one is robotics. Of course, everyone knows the use of robotics in many industries, in agriculture, in cyber security, in automotive, of course, in mobility and automotive industry. However, the recent development of surgery assistant, nursing assistant, disinfectant robots for hospital, which is today a big need, and not only for hospital, by the way, it can be in transportation industry for plane and metros and train, but in hospital it's major, and companion robots which are helping people in home care. This is all application robotics that are booming today from the Israeli industry. The third category is body augmentation. Body augmentation is, of course, artificial organ. We have an amazing company in Israel developing an artificial retina, giving sight back to people that became blind. We have intelligent prosthesis We have artificial organ like valve, which is one of the key. We have many companies, cardiac valve in Israel, assisting device with exoskeleton in order to help people that are with hemiplegia or paraplegic patients. And the fourth category is body regeneration, which is developing part of new organs like laboratory grown skin, new skin, laboratory grown inner organs like lung, kidney, heart, muscles. We have many programs in replacing part of full organs, including in kidney failure, which is a major problem today with the aging population. So that's for the medical device example of this health tech convergence.
Lauren, I think that quite interesting examples regarding the convergence in health tech. Can you also give us same detail regarding the convergence in digital health?
So the difference with a medical device is that digital health is not mainly focusing on the hardware, on the device, on something that you can have in your hand or big machine that are in clinic and hospital. Here, it's all digital, meaning software based, to be simple. So 4 categories as well. The first one is AI, artificial intelligence. We have new diagnostics, new treatment, new organization of patient journeys in order to manage the disease from the patient side. We have treatment and prevention plan, and as well natural language processing, which is helping treating some specific disease. AI is obviously booming in Israel and abroad. We have a very, very strong education system and academic system working on AI. And I believe we're only at the beginning of this sector. Telemedicine started very long ago in Israel with major players that have been either taken over by Chinese or US players. Today, we have digital treatment platform and monitoring of patients. And we see, because of the coronavirus crisis, finally, the virtual appointment, the virtual doctor call actually implemented. In the past, it was only in an exceptional case, people cannot move or the specialist is remote. Today, it's becoming very, very common to do virtual appointment, and the telemedicine system is growing. Mobile health is the third part. We have a lot of health applications on smartphones that are helping monitoring disease, diagnostic support, second opinion infrastructure that is done much faster than in the past, and as well patient boards that are able to the patient and the clinic, the medical team, to follow the patient evolution. It could be in oncology, it could be in cardiology, and of course in infectious disease like the COVID. The last one is digital simulation, which is not very well known because it's really B2B. It's not, of course, in the public. It's what we call digital twin, for instance, in order to simulate, mimic the disease on a digital platform and to observe what will be the impact of a drug or a device on a specific condition without having a real patient in clinical trials. It's something quite interesting. And we have as well full brain stimulation and other type of simulation in order to avoid or in parallel to the trial on animals and the trial on human in order to anticipate some side effect or some dosing. It will support and help and accelerate the development of drug and device, digital simulation.
It sounds unbelievable. And I just wonder, we spoke about AI, we spoke about telemedicine, and can you predict what will be a situation 2, 3, 5 years from now from the hospital's point of view, from the private hospitals? what we as a citizen in Israel, what we will feel like by using those unbelievable things that we'll create in the future.
So it is true that we can believe that the AI and all the digital and data support will will replace the doctor, and in fact, it's the opposite that will happen. The medical community will leverage all this technology in order to be less overwhelmed by the number of patients, less overwhelmed by the complexity of some of the disease and the technology, and as well completely minimize the potential medical errors that are still happening in prescription. We have in Israel an amazing company that is today commercial, which is preventing all kind of medical prescription errors on different levels of the chain, and that has been partnering with a major US company to prevent issues and errors in hospitals. This will multiply the capacity of doctors to treat well and to treat fast and to have access to different technologies. So for me, it's a support to the doctor. The final decision maker will own anyway to the physician and together with the nurses. And I see that as an improvement of the patient care and not at all a replacement of the medical and the face-to-face contact with the patient. This will just be supported and enhanced, but not replaced.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. And in our previous question, we spoke about the healthcare convergence in the digital health. Can you share with us what means the healthcare convergence in biotech and the pharma?
Of course, it could seem strange to say that we get support in the drug development, chemical drug, biological drug, vaccines, coming from the software and engineering world, but in fact, it's the case. First of all, the big data analytics that has been growing in the last year is the basis for AI application, increase of accuracy of medical record, of distributed ledgers. It's helping understanding when we do trial and as well in the post-marketing surveillance of a drug in the market, what are the patient responding stratification of patient categories for a specific disease and specific drugs. All this big data is helping to go more and more toward personalized medicine, meaning having one specific treatment for one specific patient for one specific type of disease. This is the holy grail of all doctor, all physician, to do a very personalized and customized treatment. The second category that is held by the health tech convergence is genomics and gene therapy. Everyone heard the gene editing and the way drug can be developed to help fixing some from genetic disease we have today, and those diseases were usually not very much tackled by the pharmaceutical industry because it's related to only a small number of patients. Here, with the genomic developed today, this industry is just booming and going faster and cheaper in analyzing the genome of a specific individual and finding solutions in order to treat them. And this is helped by the huge capacity of today's computer systems. The third category is cell therapy. Of course, stem cell companies in Israel is a quite very, very active group of companies. This is paving the way for stem cell treatment instead of having a very complicated drug treatment. It could be helping to regenerate nerve cells in Parkinson's disease, hopefully in the future for Alzheimer, replacing cardiac cells in order to treat long and difficult cardiac disease. We have today in Israel a few companies developing artificial pancreas based on stem cell in order to treat diabetes, which is as well the holy grail in diabetes. And we can find it in other oncologic condition in order to replace and support some organs. The fourth category is computational biology. There is a lot of use in the drug development using computer in order to make simulation. I talked about it in the digital health, but here it's used in order to develop new drugs and to make some digital building of new compounds. This exists for many years, but it's more and more potent, more and more powerful in order to develop new proteins, new antibodies. We call it proteomics and biologic drug in development, and as well in vaccines. Today, some of the vaccines are coming from this very specific type of development. And finally, I would say that the health tech convergence in biotech is to produce new type of treatment that will be individualized and personalized. That's the aim of all this technology put together.
Laurent, indeed, it's shown that you have quite a deep understanding of the sector and a very detailed explanation that you gave us here, giving us, I think, a good picture. Let me take you back to the investment point of view. Can you give us, let's say, Cookerman Group direction regarding the investment that you are looking for, that you are investing in the recent months?
We have a private equity fund called Catalyst, which has in each of his fund for the last 20 years invested in life science. Catalyst is not focusing only on life science. They have been as well investing in major tech company and was, for instance, the only venture fund investing in Mobileye that was sold for $15 billion to Intel a few years ago. We are today raising our new fund, and of course we will focus in the health tech convergence. This is one, because I describe it, it's one of the most interesting topic in Israel, and we have a lot of choice inside those 1,600 companies and the new one that are coming every year. We have about 10 to 20 per month, which is a lot. We need to invest and work with companies in order to find them more capital, which is the role of our investment bank. In those three sectors, the biotech, the digital health, and the medical device, it's very important to have a balanced portfolio in order to be present in the different fields, but as well in terms of time to exit and maturation. We all know that digital health technology has a faster turnaround in order to be in the market. It's taking a few years, while a medical device is longer, it can go up to 10 years, and while a drug is even longer, it can go up to 12 or 15 years. So in your portfolio of clients for the investment bank and of investment for the fund, you always need to have a good mix between those companies that have a faster development cycle. We focus on this very specific period of time where those companies need the largest capital infusion in order to finish and finalize their product before commercialization and before exit.
Laurent, one last question before we are finishing this second part of the podcast. Maybe you can give us, from your experience, to our listeners, any good recommendation or any good tip for R&D company or for a startup company entering this field?
Yes. So I won't name specific companies in order not to favor anyone, even though I have my favorite companies in different fields. However, if an individual investor wants to invest either in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange or the Nasdaq, or even today in the Sydney Stock Exchange and Singapore, where a few Israeli companies have been traded, I would decide to follow a field which is close to me because to me, I mean to the investor, because they will understand more what's going on. We always have family history in certain disease, and I consider it's always the good way to enter into investing in the medical field. Following the general trend on vaccines, like the COVID vaccine companies have been booming, but you are just following the crowd. Investing in companies that you have some experience personally, for me, is the best advice to start. I would say that in Israel, you have a lot of private investment opportunities as well, through crowdfunding or through private round. Of course, sometimes you need bigger ticket in order to be present. I would always follow the due diligence advice that have been done by specialized group like us, because this is key in understanding the risk. You have risk everywhere. This industry, we all know that you have the rate of success is very small in the pharma, a little bit higher in medical device, and much higher in digital health for obvious reasons. But the return is related to the level of risk. So high risk is always high return when there is a success. And I will advise to hybrid the portfolio if you want to invest in different companies. Again, between those three sectors that have cycle and dynamics that are very different, and it's helping to have a very balanced portfolio. Even as an individual, if you have three lines, take one in each. For me, it's the best way to be present in this very vivid industry.
Excellent. I think that you enriched us with quite a lot of knowledge and information. Especially, it was interesting to see the point of view from the investment and the investors. So, Dr. Laurent Choppe, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Ophir. Thanks to the whole team of Auren. It was a pleasure for me to give you part of my experience and small knowledge, but after 35 years in this industry, I try to do my best and be available if you have any question.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. So, dear listeners, we will be happy if you will join us for the future podcasts on life science and technology and business activity. We will be happy again, as usual, to receive any good ideas or recommendation from you for the areas that are interesting for you. We are wishing you a good day. Here with me, Amir Kahani, myself, Ophir Angel. Goodbye from Auren Israel.